what goes in your trust and what doesn't go in your trust. In this video, I'm going to share with you what goes in a trust, what stays out of a trust, and how exactly things get put in a trust. Hi, I'm Pam Moscarrett from Law Mother, a money protection and estate planning lawyer who helps parents create generational wealth. Imagine the scenario. You've dedicated your life to building a solid financial future for yourself and your loved ones. Now, as you think about the road ahead, you recognize the importance of protecting your legacy and ensuring that your wishes are carried out with clarity and precision. This is where the revocable living trust steps in. A revocable living trust is a vital component of your estate planning strategy. So let's delve into the essentials of what should be in your revocable living trust, what shouldn't be in your revocable living trust, and how exactly to get everything inside. Let's start with what is a revocable living trust. Simply put, it's a legal document for controlling your assets and wishes. It's revocable, meaning you can change the terms of it, and it's living, meaning you set it up while you're alive. Why should your assets go in a revocable living trust? Well, one of the main reasons people set up a trust is so that when they pass away, their assets will avoid going through probate. And probate is a lengthy and costly court process where the government takes control of your assets. The only way probate is avoided is if at the time of your death, everything is properly funded to the trust, meaning that the trust is designated as the owner of the assets or the beneficiary. Because if you die with assets in your name, those assets go through probate and they get transferred from your name by the court to other people. But when your assets are in the name of the trust, it avoids probate and the trust controls what happens to these assets. Here are some examples of assets that are typically funded to your trust. First, real estate, your primary residence, vacation properties, rental units, commercial properties, any real estate can be transferred into the trust. Typically, if you hold properties in your LLC, on title, the LLC will be the owner and you'll assign your ownership interest of the LLC to your trust. Next, financial investments. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and other investment vehicles can also be held within your trust. Third, bank and investment accounts, checking, savings, money market accounts, and brokerage accounts can be titled in the name of your trust. Next, personal belongings, valuable possessions, such as jewelry, artwork, family heirlooms can all be put in your trust. Also, business interests. If you own interests in a partnership, LLC, you're a sole proprietor, all of these business assets can be put into your trust. Now, let's consider assets that are typically funded to the trust through a beneficiary designation. First, retirement accounts, such as your 401k, your IRA, or your pension plan. If you are married, in most cases, your spouse will be the primary beneficiary and the trust will be the contingent beneficiary. The reason you do this is there are tax advantages if you're married of listing your spouse first. Next, life insurance policies. Life insurance proceeds usually pass directly to the named beneficiary, and so typically you will name the trust as the beneficiary, and then your trust documents will say who this life insurance policy will go to. Certain bank accounts, depending on how your plan is designed and your goals, may be held directly in your name or be held directly in the name of the trust. So for example, if you're married, you might want to hold your bank accounts jointly with your spouse and name the trust as the beneficiary. Or you may just want to directly hold those bank accounts in the name of your trust. For motor vehicles, in most jurisdictions, transferring vehicles into the trust can be complicated and result in additional fees and insurance. So in those cases, you'll typically leave those vehicles outside of the trust and fill out a transfer on death designating the trust. Additionally, timeshares, depending on the timeshare contract, many people choose to keep those outside of the trust because they don't want to bind their heirs on maintaining those timeshares. Especially if those timeshares have high annual maintenance fees. Now that we've outlined what is included and what's excluded from your trust, let's discuss how you actually put things into the trust. Funding your trust involves transferring ownership of those assets to the trust and ensures that they're governed by the trust document. Here are some of the key steps to consider based on specific assets. First, for real estate, to transfer real estate into your revocable trust, you'll need to execute a deed transferring ownership of the property to the trust. This typically involves drafting a new deed, naming the trust as the new owner, and recording it with the municipality or county. You'll likely want to work with a lawyer or title company to do this correctly. Next, financial investments. To transfer financial investments into the trust, work with your financial institution or brokerage firm to change ownership or beneficiary designations to include the trust. This may entail completing forms provided by the institution and providing a copy of your trust document. Next, bank and investment accounts. Similarly to transferring other types of financial accounts, you're going to want to update the ownership or the beneficiary designation to include the trust. This will also involve completing forms with that institution, and you may also need to provide a copy of your trust document. Additionally, personal belongings for valuable personal property like jewelry and artwork. Typically, you'll fill out an assignment document that assigns all of your personal property to the trust. And many jurisdictions allow you to then have a memorandum where in the memorandum you update throughout your life who you want to receive specific things. So for example, if you want your watch to go to your grandson, you'll write that there. When you buy new earrings, you'll add that as well. Next, business interests. Transferring business interests into the trust may involve coordination with legal and financial advisors and compliance with partnership agreements or operating agreements. So you're going to want to follow the procedures outlined in your operating or partnership agreement and ensure that the transfer is executed correctly. Now, after watching this, you may be wondering how to set up a trust the right way and what are the most common mistakes to avoid. That's why your next step is to watch my video on the 5 living trust mistakes linked here. I'll teach you how to protect the people you love the right way and avoid the most common mistakes.